Are you where you want to be? If not, then ask yourself if any of the 7 daily habits that I am about to share in today's episode could be what is keeping you stuck or holding you back from your full potential. There is often this idea that we have to take quantum leaps towards our version of success, towards our vision of the future. But what if the key to your success was actually hidden in your tiny daily habits, in the seemingly insignificant things that actually have a huge impact on your future self and your future potential? Socrates famously said that the unexamined life is not worth living. So let's have a look at these tiny habits and how we can replace them with potentially more valuable things. This is part 2 in my episode of habits that could be keeping you stuck. If you haven't had a chance to watch part 1 on my YouTube channel or listen to part 1 on my podcast, then you can go back and have a look at that after this episode because these are in no particular order. But for now, grab your cup of tea and let's dive into it. The first habit that could be keeping you stuck is not choosing your words wisely. Neurolinguistics programming, or NLP, is the discipline that focuses on thoughts, behaviors, and language patterns and using them to achieve your desired goals. It focuses on using the constraints and capabilities of your conscious and subconscious minds. It really gets you to reframe some of your negative self-talk. And this is because of the power of words. If you tell yourself something like, I'll fail or I'm a failure, your mind can't help but create the mental images associated with failure. It's like hearing the words green tree. You can't help but picture a green tree. If you instead tell yourself, I am capable of success, for example, then you will start to create the neural pathways associated with that. NLP also encourages you to rethink your limiting beliefs, but it offers a really unique perspective on limiting beliefs in that they are actually limiting decisions. So you made the decision to have that limiting belief about yourself. And there was likely an event that preceded you making that particular decision. So the next time you find yourself engaged in any negative self-talk or you are telling yourself limiting beliefs, then ask yourself, when did I make that decision? The second habit that could be keeping you stuck is mindless music. I grew up in a music-obsessed household. I myself have the most eclectic taste in music. As a child, I used to print out lyrics and study them, just completely captivated by the storytelling at play. I still am obsessed with music, but I am much more intentional about the music that I let into my day-to-day life, particularly because of the power of words and the ability of words to infiltrate your subconscious mind. I'm also particularly intentional about the music that I listen to or don't listen to while I'm working, which leads me to a 2019 study that was published in the journal Applied Cognitive Psychology. It found that listening to music while you are working can significantly impair your creativity. But that wasn't actually true for all music. What this study defined as happy music, which was classical upbeat music, actually improved the performance of divergent thinking for participants. So this was their ability to make unique links and connections, to take information and transform it into unique forms. It was essentially their ability to think outside of the box. There have been several studies that have supported the mental and physical benefits of classical music. And just one of the physical benefits of classical music is that it can potentially also reduce your blood pressure. The third habit that could be keeping you stuck is a mindless commute. There was a report published in 2022 in Australia that showed that the average person's commute takes 54 minutes or 33 kilometres every single day, and it cost an average of $20 per day. So similar to last episode, what I want to do is extend these calculations out a little bit further in a more meaningful way. 54 minutes commuting per day is the equivalent of 4.5 hours commuting per week. That's based on a 5-day working week. And this equals 216 hours commuting per year. That's based on the 48-week year that most Australians would work, allowing for up to 4 weeks of annual leave as well. And this equals approximately 5 work week equivalents commuting per year. That is based on a 40-hour work week. The same report also showed that getting from A to B was costing the average Australian $4,000 per year. So do your own calculations and work out what your commute is costing you in time and money every single year. And then ask yourself if you could potentially make this a more valuable experience for you. The legendary Zig Ziglar used the term automobile university, and this was the idea of using your commute to actually educate yourself. You might want to switch out any mindless or pointless radio banter for a podcast in your field of interest instead. You may want to learn a language while you are going to and from work. You may even want to just switch off altogether and actually allow your learnings, your thoughts, and your ideas from the day to actually be able to mentally upload. The fourth habit that could be keeping you stuck is sticking to your comfort zone. Does your day generally look more or less the same every single day? Or are you intentionally and constantly experimenting? I was first introduced to the idea of zooming in Seth Godin's book, Survival is Not Enough. The book is a brilliant analogy connecting science and nature to business. And Godin proposes that in order for brands to be able to survive, they have to be able to evolve. And in order to evolve, we need to overcome our innate anti-change reflex. And we do that through continuous experimenting. Godin proposes that the best way to do this is to zoom. And this is not about managing change. This is about actually creating a passion for change, a passion for change that comes out in your daily habits. It is the idea of making change and experimenting with change tiny and painless every single day. So instead of mindlessly repeating things exactly as you always would have, why not try to experiment daily instead? Make 1% changes or improvements or experiments to whatever it is that you would normally be working on. Maybe it is the way that you communicate, the way that you present, the way that you write, or the way that you produce content. Whatever it is, how can you make tiny changes to experiment to see how you are going to get closer to your version of success? At the very least, try and experiment throughout your day. Maybe it is taking a different route to work. Maybe it is listening to something you wouldn't normally listen to. Maybe it's trying a new food or meeting with someone you wouldn't normally meet with. Whatever it is, how are you ensuring that you are continuously experimenting and therefore evolving in a tiny and painless way? The fifth habit that could be keeping you stuck is letting your negativity bias take over. Dr. Rick Hanson famously said, "The mind is like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones." As humans, we have been evolutionarily hardwired to look for the negatives. Historically, this helped ensure our survival. It kept us alive. What's alarming, though, is that in our modern day society, how much of a propensity that we still have for negative thinking. Research from the National Science Foundation showed that 80% of our thoughts every day are actually negative. Just think about how you have dwelled on negative comments, criticisms, negative interactions, events, or potentially negative results that you might have had at some point. How much you focused on them as opposed to the positive. That is naturally the bias that we all have, but we can actually train ourselves to think differently. And that is where things like a gratitude journal come in really valuable as well too. Because by writing down just a few things that you are grateful for at the end of every single day, research has shown that this can actually wire your brain to actually more continuously scan for the positive in your life. The sixth habit that could be keeping you stuck is learning for short-term gain only. How much voluntary learning are you building into your day? Are you only watching videos or reading or studying things just because your teacher or your boss told you that you had to for a particular project that you are working on? Or are you actually doing it by choice? Learning for short-term gain is a real stick and carrot approach to learning. You are only doing it because you see the short-term reward that you are going to get. But why not learn for the long-term gain that your future self is going to experience? Learn for the sake of learning. Learn even though no one is going to be testing you. Watch YouTube videos, read blogs, listen to podcasts, or my personal favorite, read books. As I've shared on this channel before, research has compared the knowledge of TV watchers to readers, and readers have been shown to have better problem-solving skills, better analytical skills, and better judgment. And because of the unique words used in books, magazines, or written texts, readers have been shown to have better communication skills and a better vocabulary. Reading will also help to improve your social skills. Research has shown that because of the neural pathways that are created when you are reading, this improves your social skills or your emotional intelligence and empathy when you actually put the book down as well. The seventh habit that could be keeping you stuck is sleep deprivation. Now, I appreciate that this can be a challenging one for parents, particularly with young children. But if you have any means of controlling your sleep patterns, then ask yourself if you are getting enough sleep. Your brain uses the time that you sleep to upload your learnings, to create new neural pathways, to prepare yourself for the day that you have ahead. It gives new meaning to the phrase solving a problem in your sleep. Research has actually shown that sleep supports problem solving and creativity. So instead of buying into this hustle at all costs, no sleep culture that seems to be really popular at the moment, remind yourself that your brain is capable of so much more than you may be giving it credit for, particularly when it is sleeping. So allow your brain to do the work for you while you sleep. So take a microscope to your tiny habits and ask yourself if any of these habits could be potentially what is keeping you stuck. Thank you, and subscribe for more in this habit series in the next episode.